Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. I'm Juanita Wootton-Radko, podcast co-host, and with me is Kim Thompson Pinder, the word ninja. We thought we'd shake it up a bit and I'd get my turn. This is part 2 of 10 faux pas that you want to avoid when speaking as you present yourself as a professional authority. How'd I do, Kim?
Good. So we talked about in the first episode, and you can go back. It's probably a couple episodes back because we do these episodes on the first and the third Tuesday of the month. So if you go back a little bit, you'll be able to find the first part 1 of this. But we talked about the fact that first impressions count, especially in a business setting. And you want to make sure that when you speak, that it comes across powerfully, not overwhelming. You never want to overwhelm a person, but you want to come across with that confidence, that je ne sais quoi, that just
authority,
is attractive.
Really?
Yeah. And we had some fun in the first podcast. In fact, we spent most of it laughing. So hopefully you were able to make out some of what we said in the podcast. But we also talked about the first 3: filler words, preamble, and rambling, just on and on and on and on and on and on.
And we told you to eliminate filler words, eliminate preamble, and get to the point. And then stop once you got there.
So a word that keeps going through my mind is succinctly. And I'm sure if I asked Juanita, she can give us a definition for that word very quickly.
It means brief and to the point.
Perfect. No preamble or rambling there. So today we want to cover the other 6 of the 10 faux pas. And this has come from my new book that's being released in the summer, Author to Authority. And if you want to get a free excerpt of the book that teaches you all about the 6 key building blocks, gives you a great introduction to the author to authority concept, you can go to www.authortoauthority.com/get-the-book. And of course, the link will be in the show notes. So as Juanita has been wonderfully doing while I'm speaking, the next one is listen more. I've seen so many people who are trying to act like they're an expert or they're an authority, and they feel like they have to do all of the talking, that they have to prove that they're an expert. And it's kind of gross sounding, but it almost comes out like verbal vomit.
Yeah,
Not
that is
too pleasant.
Have
you ever met somebody like that who was just trying to dominate the conversation?
Oh, yeah, don't get it on my shoes is what you feel like saying. When you listen more, you really are giving someone the gift of your attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real treat, honestly, to feel like you're being heard. One of the things that I like to do is I like to ask someone a question, an open-ended question, not a yes or no question, and listen to what they're saying and think about what it might mean for them and find out how what I do can help solve a problem for them, help them do something better in their life. Or do I know someone who might have a better solution for them?
Here's the thing about the preamble. Here's the thing. So there's a real life example of a very short preamble. Listening does not make you the weaker person. That's a misconception, that the person who's talking is the better, bigger, stronger, faster, whatever, than the person who's listening. But someone who's a true authority has that confidence within themselves. They know themselves, they like themselves, that they can allow anyone to talk, listen carefully, ask questions, and still come out of it with their own self-worth and value. They don't have to be the center of attention. And that becomes strangely attractive to those who feel like they have to talk all the time.
You often get complimented as being such a great conversationalist, when really you're just the one soaking it in.
In a business conversation, even when you're just getting to know someone, listening is powerful. It allows you to quickly determine where this person belongs in your network. Maybe this is someone that's going to be a good potential client for you, but maybe they're not. Maybe they could be a comrade or a coach or someone who can connect you. Maybe there's someone that you can collaborate and joint venture partner with. But you don't know that until you listen. If you assume, and there's a reason why, if you break up assume, I won't say the word over here, but just break up the word into 3 parts. You'll get what I'm saying. Listening becomes a powerful tool for you in terms of positioning yourself as authority, but also building your business. Any other thoughts before we go on?
Let's move on.
Okay. Eye contact. Now, this is one that Juanita and I have never had a problem with. Actually, the reverse is true. Many times we can't look at each other because we know what each other's thinking.
If you are a shy person and making eye contact is uncomfortable for you, there's a couple of tips, because Kim's mostly right in saying that I've never had a problem with eye contact, but I did have one kind of problem with eye contact. Kim and I are both very tall women. I'm 6 feet tall. You're what, 5'10", 5
and a half? And
exactly.
a half.
Exactly. When talking, and we've been this height since high school. Mm-hmm. When talking with our younger and shorter classmates, eye contact would actually make you slouch a little bit. So humor aside, that is sometimes not perfect. Sometimes to actually achieve eye contact, sorry, I had to dry mouth there. To achieve eye contact comfortably, you may need to take a step back and widen the gap between you to have a good, comfortable eye contact. You may also have to find you're not always peering into someone's eyes and only the pupils of your eyes. Like when we talk about eye contact, that some people get that impression that you can only watch your eyes. Don't do that. It's creepy. It's creepy when someone locks gazes with you and then will not let go. Bounce around. Look at their eyebrow. Look at their cheek. Look at their mouth. Back up their eyebrow. Look at their nose. You know, if they have a blemish on the end of their nose, don't stare. But keep your eye moving around, like, I don't know, You know, are they wearing earrings? Do they have a mustache? If she has a mustache, do not compliment her. She doesn't want to hear it. I know I'm on a roll right now. But eye contact can be even top of the forehead, eyebrow, cheek, and just kind of in the general face zone makes people feel like you're paying attention and being comfortable, and knowing that can be helpful if you are perhaps a little more on the, you're not neurodivergent, you're not neurotypical. This is a way of working around something that might be challenging for you.
Now, the other reason why Juanita and I had to take a step back, because we were tired of the guys staring at our chest all the time.
There's that. Although you can't, hold your books and hold your textbooks in front of you. That's really the only thing that solves that, girls. So
close your code.
Juanita and Kim. The more you know.
So it was nice by the time of the end of high school, most of the guys were at least close to our height or taller. Okay. The next one, being unclear on your core marketing message. That first impression that you make, those first words that come out of your mouth when you introduce yourself, leave a lasting impression. There is a reason why I call myself the Extraordinary Word Ninja. Now, I've written over 150 books, so I've earned the title. But I specifically use it because I want to be memorable. I want a good, strong first impression. I also want to make people curious. So the Extraordinary Word Ninja is my business persona. It's what I use to differentiate myself from other people who do what I do. And amazingly enough, most people may not remember my name, but if they've met me either online or in person and they see me again, they go, oh, wait, you're that word ninja, aren't you? Mm-hmm. And of course, that's exactly what I want. When you have your core marketing message in place, and we've done lots of podcast episodes on it. So if you're not too sure about it, go back and listen. We've done quite a few of them since 2019. But your core marketing message contains who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them. So we're not going to go into full explanations of that today. Go back and listen to some of the past episodes. But when you can do that, it becomes strong. Now, I didn't even have a chance to share this with Juanita yet before the show. So we're going to do this here. I've been working on my new introduction, the way that I stand out. So, who I am, who do I serve, and how do I serve it? Now, I've got it written on a nice little Post-it note here because I don't have it memorized yet. But I'm going to read it and let Juanita share her honest thoughts online on air. Ooh, this might be scary. So, my new introduction is, hi, I'm Kim Thompson Pinder, the Extraordinary Word Ninja, Chief Visionary Officer of RTI Publishing, and if I'm going into my long official one, international best-selling author, award-winning speaker, and host of the Author to Authority podcast. I teach entrepreneurs, professionals, speakers, and coaches how to become the authority in their niche through the 6 key building blocks of authority marketing, and how to do it 10 times faster by becoming an authority in my Author to Authority program. Now, it needs to be tightened up a bit, but that's the framework that I'm now working from.
So the extended one you would be using when you're speaking from and selling from stage, correct?
Stage, or if I'm doing a Facebook Live. Occasionally, if it's a really sort of bigger type person that I need to make a really big first impression on, sometimes I'll say that, but I can't say it half jokingly, just so it's kind of there. And I teach it, so I use it because I teach it quite a bit. But normally if I just introduce myself, hi, I'm Kim Thompson Pinder, the extraordinary word ninja and chief visionary officer of RTI Publishing. I work with entrepreneurs, professional speakers, and coaches.
That's about the amount that, in a quick introduction, that people will register in and lock in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's going to be really good.
The longer one is when I'm providing social proof of who I am. Mm-hmm. And there's value in that, but I don't use it all the time. Like Juanita said, that's predominantly when I'm speaking somewhere, or if I'm on somebody's podcast, or, I'm speaking at someone's Facebook Live. And I do it, and I'll do it different ways. Sometimes I do it kind of tongue in cheek, right? Because I don't want it to be like so ultra serious, like I am the be all and end all. But it does get the message out there that I have some experience.
Yeah, it's establishing Kim's credentials. It's establishing the kind of professional that she is. And those are great things. It's also solidifying her persona as a brand as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm tiptoeing around here. I'm getting a little bit close to our next point. I don't think I went quite there, but if I were to say, oh, grab Bessie and walk her through the garden and slap a rose on her and bring it on home, I'd be using diner speak to say, I want a hamburger with some lettuce and tomato on top. But I used niche specific jargon. Mm-hmm. And what do you think about that, Kim?
Be honest, I had no clue what you were talking about until you explained it.
Exactly. That's why you don't want to be using niche specific jargon unless you know that you're talking with someone who's in your niche, who knows what the heck you're talking about. If you're trying to communicate and enfold new people into your circle, they won't know it. They're not in your circle yet.
Exactly. I was at a networking meeting, probably back 2019, I think it was. I was speaking at the event and talking about introductions. And this one lady at the back of the room, put up her hand to have me help her with her introduction. And she had some sort of very strange medical title. I can't even remember what the word was. It was long and unrecognizable. So it's not like psychiatrist, gynecologist, and it was a very unusual word. So much so that I don't even remember it now. But I had no clue what she did or how she helped people medically. And because it was a complicated thing, even after 5 or 10 minutes of her explaining, I still had no clue what it was that she did. Now, do you think that woman is going to really make an impression, or people are going to want to talk to her about their problems? No, because nobody even knows what she does. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important, if you're doing something that's not well known, or, has very high technical terms. My husband works in a very highly technical job. He repairs CNC equipment. So I'm not sure exactly what a CNC does, but it's a major piece of equipment in most factories for manufacturing things. And sometimes he comes home and he starts in on telling me about his repairs and what he's doing. And I start looking at him, I go, uh-huh, yeah, uh-huh. And he goes, stop that. You have no clue what I'm talking about. Uh-huh, yeah. And then he realizes that he's talking to his lovely, intelligent, but completely ignorant mechanically wife. And so technically he dummies it down for me. But what he does is he takes the concepts and he explains them to me in a way that I can understand. It's one of the reasons why, until my mechanic gives up his business, I will never stop going to him. Over the years, he has treated me with an incredible amount of respect. He recognizes that I'm smart, I'm intelligent. I'm just not mechanically wise. It's not something that I understand well. So he always takes the time to explain to me in ways that I can relate to what's going on in my vehicle.
I think one thing I would like to tack on here, Kim, is the idea of providing I want to say allegory, but that's a bit too literary a word. I want you to...
And this specific jargon?
It's not accurate. I wouldn't say it's so niche as all that. But if you have to use jargon, and sometimes you will, it's a good idea to think about what you're talking about and try and think of a parallel in everyday life that you can use. For example, I used to sell sewing machines that allowed you to program a sequence of different pattern stitches. Like you could have a leaf and then a flower and then a leaf and a flower, very simple A-B pattern. But we were selling these sewing machines mostly to older women who did not use computers in their work life. They were homemakers, and the idea of setting the clock on their VCR or anything computer related sounded very technical and scary to them. One of the things that we would teach would be, you can handle this. It's like putting your cup of the tea in the microwave and then pressing the time and pressing start. Oh, I can do that.
Exactly.
And when we were teaching other parts of other aspects of using the sewing machine, the comparison would be, it's like following a recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Those things having to do with food are often very good, because I don't know anyone who doesn't eat at least once a day, at least one day a week. On average, it's very unlikely that you're going to meet someone who has not eaten in the past 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to
move on. Whatever you've got, unless you've got food for them, they're not interested.
And because we're running out of time again, we're going to move on to the next one. Boy, we really get into these conversations, don't we, Juanita?
Well, when you said that we'd only done 3 previously and we were somehow going to miraculously cover 7, you said 6, but really 7.
Well, I guess
perhaps your math was off.
Well, but we had the introduction too, so.
That's true.
I guess we're going to have to learn how to speak with more brevity. Anyway, our next one is acronyms.
SMART.
Problem with acronyms is not everyone knows what they mean. When my daughter started texting, she would text me all these things. ROL, LOL,
Mm-hmm.
a whole series of other ones. And I'm like, what does it mean? Like, can you not type out the word? And it's the same with acronyms. It may be like niche specific jargon. It may be something that is commonly known in your community, but it might not be something that's known outside. So general rule of thumb is if you are using an acronym, the first time you use it, say the acronym and then say all the words so that people know what it is. And then the next time you can just continue to use the acronym.
Specific, measurable, accurate, realistic, timely. That's what SMART goals are.
So smart. Anyway, the last two, incongruous. I don't even think I said that right.
Incongruous.
Thank you. Body language. It's getting towards the end of the day. I'm getting tired. If you're vocally strong, yet your body language is weak, you will send off confusing messages to the person. It is said that, you know, a good percentage of communication is nonverbal. We do judge by what we see in a person, that not just the words they say, but the tone of their voice, the way their face looks. You can say something incredibly nice with a really horrible, nasty look on your face and a slightly sarcastic tone, and that person knows that you don't mean a word that you're saying. Mm-hmm. Same with body language. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, we are in uncomfortable situations. We are exploring new ground. We're growing our business. We have new skills that we're learning, and that can come across in our body language. One couple of things to be aware of. Don't slouch. If you're standing, have your feet shoulder width apart. Try not to cross your arms and your hands a lot. That's what's called a closed body language. It may sound kind of weird, but you want an open body language, kind of like where your heart connects to the heart of the person. If a person takes a step backwards, you have invaded their personal bubble space. And the best thing that you can do is don't step towards them, but step away from them. Like Juanita said, if you're really tall, take that step back so it's easier to look eye to eye. So those are just some basic body language. And of course, there's the last one, and I'm just waiting for it to happen.
Oh, now you want me to talk.
You didn't get my hidden clue.
Oh. I'm so sorry, Kim. For once I wasn't talking over you.
The last one is interrupting the other
What
person.
do you mean I was supposed to?
Oh, okay, it's going to be one of those episodes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Not really. Sorry, not sorry.
Thank you for demonstrating the point so well. I don't think we really have to explain that one. Only to say that when you interrupt someone, it is disrespectful. And it positions you as the weaker person because you have to take charge. So I recommend, even sometimes, I understand that sometimes you're talking to a person and they're going on and on and on and on and on, and they're not even stopping to take a breath, and you're wondering where you can get a word in edgewise because maybe you just have something that you need to do. But try to listen as much as possible. And if you do have to interrupt, try to do it gently.
That's a good point. Sometimes there are necessary interruptions. You might have a time constraint. If you're working from home, you may have a child with an emergency, and obviously those kind of interruptions need to be acknowledged and addressed. When you're being interrupted by another person, I don't know about you particularly, Kim, but while I don't usually stop the other person and say, please let me finish, in my head, I have a mental tick. That's strike one. I have an interruption a second time, and I'm like, oh, you're on thin ice now. And once if you hit strike 3, I do not want anything to do with you. That sounds really harsh. It's context based, obviously. As I said, there are exceptions when interruptions must be priority. But if you're consistently being interrupted by distracting things that have no business interrupting your conversation with your new potential client, you are doing them and yourself a disservice.
Juanita and I know each other well enough. We won't tell you how many years, but we're at a point that if we interrupt each other, we know it's for a reason. Mm-hmm. And it's usually, Juanita, I've got to go. I got to be on with a client in 2 minutes. Or I'll hear something in the background and Juanita go, Kim, yeah, it's okay. Go take care of it.
There was a terrible crash and I need to deal with things.
So let's wrap this up. If you follow the 10 faux pas, speaking faux pas, and don't do them, you will find that your communication skills will increase. The only other one that I forgot to put in there was increase your vocabulary. Learn some delicious words, and you will round off your communication skills. And when you speak to someone, you will come across attractively, and they will want to talk to you more about who you are and what you do. So in closing this off, this has been Juanita Wootton-Radko and Kim Thompson Pinder on the Author to Authority podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the very next episode. Bye now.
Bye-bye.